Hi again, welcome to Pulled Focus. My name's Aileen Manson and I am part of the team at Deep Fried who have been viewing the films from this year's submissions for Deep Fried Film Festival. So as part of Pulled Focus, we are talking to the independent filmmakers who have submitted to the festival this year. And with us today to talk about the film Wasps, Sharks and Vending Machines, we have Kew and Daniel. Guys, great to have you here. Could you tell us a bit about yourselves?
Okay, shall I go first? Um, yeah, what you see is not the background. I'm in Singapore, and yeah, my name is Kew Lin, and I'm a filmmaker. So this film was shot in the winter of 2021, and it's called Wasps, Sharks, and Vending Machines. The premise of this film is really simple and fun. It's about an arrogant psychologist who goes around bloviating, telling stories about his patients whom he looked down upon. So, Wasps, Sharks, and Vending Machines are the names of three stories that he tells. So I have here with me as well my lead actor, Daniel. Do you want to
I,
introduce yourself?
my name's Daniel Knight. I'm based in London, where the film was shot. Um, and like you said, he put a post out for people to get involved with the film, and we filmed it during a very, very cold winter, kind of in the midst of lockdown. So there was lots of interesting endeavours with distancing and testing and all those other kind of things that we were contending with.
Brilliant. So we're going to show a little clip just now of Wasps, Sharks and Vending Machines.
I'm not even sorry. Massive delays on the tube, apparently.
So you're aware you're still logged into my Uber account, right?
But that's why I'm not sorry.
So plus the one you already owe me, you're paying for the next two dinners because we just passed happy hour.
Sorry, darling, can you turn the music down a bit, please? It just makes my ear a bit.
No, we're good. You can ignore him.
Please?
So you mentioned lockdown there as part of the introduction. Was this a challenge in making the film, like under COVID restrictions, or were you able to work around it?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, obviously at the time, it wasn't extremely clear what we were up against. I barely remember the 2003 SARS incident in Asia, so there was a lot of you can't do that, and it didn't sound logical to me. But we got there. I remember being quite nervous because we had to do tests, and we had to make sure that nobody was infected by coming on set. So the worst thing you want to make a film is, it's supposed to be entertainment and telling stories, but end up getting people sick. So that would be quite a nightmare for me. So yeah, but Daniel, do you remember anything? I remember it was really cold. I remember everybody doing just this all the time.
Yeah, when we shot out by London Bridge, we looked very warm, but in between takes, literally the whole body was ice. Underneath our jumpers, we had waistcoats and things on, and lots of hot water bottles when you got off set, and hot drinks, because we had to sit outside the whole time in between the takes, because you weren't allowed to be inside certain distance and all that kind of stuff. Um, and also outside of COVID, I remember we were fighting quite massively against the light going down. For continuity, we had to get the shots in before the light went. That's what I remember a lot.
Yeah,
No, absolutely, absolutely.
the light has a big impact, and it's not always predictable. Especially the UK weather can change so much just in one day. So talked a bit about that side of things. Technically, the shots, you've got internal shots and then having to work outside. Were there any technical difficulties on that side of things, and how did you overcome them?
Um, no, I Okay, so the difficult thing, I think everybody should come to Singapore and make films in the future because there is no weather problems. It's always sunny. Uh, so it was. I mean, I have lived in the UK for 10 years, so I kind of know what we're up against in terms of weather. Um, so in the bar, we split the film into two. One day in the bar, and one day outside by the Thames. And I would say that the challenge for the first day in the bar was dialogue. Because if you watch the film, it was extremely dialogue heavy. Everybody had to do takes, and we also experimented with like long takes. Just to my naive idea was to just let Daniel and his co-actor just be
Sean.
In the moment, yeah, and in the and so it was extremely dialogue heavy. So even though we were sheltered from the weather, we had to work really hard. But the second day is completely different because it was the climax and dialogue relatively light, but it was just crazy to do following shots. We had our director of photography, Brendan, um, hold the camera, and then we were walking, following the actors. You know, all the organic and natural things you see, it's really really tough. It's really unnatural when you see what's behind the camera. Um, but luckily we had a really good crew. Everybody was super supportive. Yes. What can you remember, Daniel?
Um, yeah, it's interesting what you say about the making everything look natural. I mean, how can you look natural in a bar when it's two people having a kind of intimate conversation, but there's 20 people leaning in on you saying, that's really great, but that coffee cup moves. You need to redo that again, and that coffee cup has to be there. Or you need to look here. I know you should be looking at him, but actually, if you look slightly to the right at that bit, that will look better. So, I mean, that's the joy of acting on screen. There's all these. Um, yeah, I guess for me the biggest thing outside was uh, I hate the wind. I think the wind's terrible. There's always like ruffling of the microphone. My hair's thinning, so I'm like, don't make it blow over into a comb over mid scene and all those kind of things. So yeah, for me, I prefer inside shots. It feels a lot more safer and secure, and you can go again and again with not too much change.
And Daniel, what attracted you to acting in this piece?
A couple of things actually. For me, as a kind of gay actor, it's lovely to be in a film that touches on this. I mean, it's not about that, but it's about this one guy's fear about actually showing some form of physical contact in public. So for me, it was lovely to just have that undercurrent of that. And quite often when I'm in films, they don't specify what your sexuality is. So you're just, I think, well, he's probably gay unless they say he's got a wife. But for here, it was implicit, so it was lovely, and it was lovely to have the interaction between the two of us. And it wasn't about the sexuality; it was about the kind of arrogance of the other character. He's so arrogant, helping other people's problems, and he himself has this look to him. He can't quite deal with displays of affection. So for me, it was that it's the nuances of interchange between two characters, and I don't know, I find all that really really fascinating, the like minutia of how a couple interact, really, I guess.
And the dialogue itself, the language and the tones that were used with it, that says as much about the story as what's actually part of the story, really, as well, doesn't it? The way these have delivered quite funny, interesting stories within it. Was that
Yeah,
enjoyable, or was it quite nerve wracking?
for me it was enjoyable because I like the power play with the arrogant person telling his funny stories, and then I felt like quite a passive aggressive character who was just kind of sitting there waiting to get in there and push his buttons. But yeah, it was funny, the dynamic, especially in the scene in the toilet where he stood outside and blabbering on and on and on, and I'm inside and I just come out and kind of cut him to the quick each time. Yeah, it was enjoyable, and I guess Sean is kind of quite a gregarious, loud person, the actor that played the other part, and I'm quite a quiet, introspective person. So I think it played to our strengths as people as well. I don't know what you think, Hugh.
Yeah, I think this is the right moment to say that I feel extremely grateful to have Daniel and Sean, the other actor, because it was how I imagined it to be when I wrote the piece. There were some restrictions that I set for myself for this film. Apart from budget reasons, I also really wanted to see if I can do a pure dialogue piece. Because if you've seen any of my previous films, they're not very dialogue heavy. Also, English doesn't come so naturally to me. There is always a little bit of translation in my head. But I do think that perhaps that brought about a little bit of a different layer into the writing, because then I will be focused on the meaning and the subtext of all the dialogue rather than how natural and flowery the vocabularies can get, because that's just not my real natural self. Uh, so I think I'm pretty happy with the meaning and the subtext of the words, but I'm really happy that there are the actors Daniel and Sean were able to help me smooth and rationalize the words out on set and in rehearsals.
So
I'm not
Yeah.
native.
Well, I mean, I'd add to that. I mean, first of all, I thought the text was very easy to say. It felt very natural, and I'm a native English speaker. But also, I was going to say on set, it was a creative process. Hugh obviously had his vision, but you were very open to us saying, well, what about trying this? Or, because to begin with, I think I was supposed to be outside the toilet listening to Sean blabbering on from inside the toilet, and then we switched it. And it was fun. It was really enjoyable to have ideas, have them heard, and play with them. And that doesn't always happen on set because you don't know each other and you haven't got time for that relationship. So I thought that was really
Mhm.
creative, really creative.
So, having worked together on this project and building a relationship, um, are there plans to work together as a team in the future?
God, I'd love
Oh.
to.
Putting you on the spot.
No spot at all. It would be my pleasure. So let's see. I'm returning to the UK next week, actually, for long term. So yeah, I'll call you, Daniel. Let's see. We've got something. We'll go to Scotland, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bring an umbrella
yeah.
and some wellies and sun cream because you never know what you're going to find up here weather-wise.
Oh God.
Well, we very much appreciate you both joining us to chat about the film and look forward to showing it to our audiences both online and in person this year at the Deep Fried Film Festival. So for now, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you.
Thank you. So keep tuning in to Field Focus for more interviews with this year's submissions. Filmmakers, directors, writers, actors. We're going to have so many different people joining us and look forward to seeing you again.